Hi guys, and welcome back to lesson 7 in our numeracy skills topic. This is our final lesson for the topic, and as you can see today we are going to be looking at mental calculations and order of operations. So we are learning how to solve problems mentally, so with no working, no calculator, and the correct way in which we carry out operations. So if you've got more than one, plus, minus, times, divide, what order do we do them in? Your success criteria today. You have been successful if you can use different skills to mentally calculate a problem, or if you can solve problems in the correct order of the operations. So there are different ways that we can answer a question, and everybody is different. We have different ways that we think about problems and different ways we can solve it in our heads. I'm going to write down my working here so that you can see the different ways that I'm talking about. But really, you should be trying to think how you would work this out in your head. It's going to be hard to carry numbers over, remember what you've added. So these wee tricks should hopefully make things a bit easier for you. For me, when I first see this question here, 290 plus 450, I automatically think, well, 290 is almost 300. So 300 plus 450. Well, 400 plus my 300 would get me up to 700, so that's going to be 750. But it was really 290. We added on an extra 10 here, so I need to take that back off. So my final answer, what I'm doing in my head, is 750, take away 10, and that would be 740 for my answer. So what I'm thinking there is, well, 450 plus 300 gets me to 750. Take 10 off is 740. Another way that some people do it is think, well, 450 is almost at 500, so I could take 50 away from my 290 and add that on first. So if I separate the page there, if I take 50 out of my 290, that's going to leave me with 240. And if I add 50 on to my 450, that gets me to 500. I then can do just my 5, my 2 is 7, and then that 40 for 740. So different ways to think about it. You maybe came up with a different way before I'd answered these, and that's totally fine, whatever method works best for you in your head. Our next example then is 1,300 plus 7,200. Now, straight away, I'm thinking they both end with 2 zeros, so I'm really focusing here on the 13 plus the 72, and in my head, I can easily add that up to give me 85. But I had 1,300 and 7,200, so really my answer here is that 85 with 2 zeros at the end to give me 8,500. Maybe you did it as 200 plus 300 gives me 500, my 7,000 plus 1,000 is 8,000, so that's 8,500. Again, there's maybe been another way you've done it, so long as you get that same answer, that's all that matters. This time we're doing a takeaway, so 840, take away 610. Well, to me, the thing that's jumping out here is that 610 is almost 600. So my 840 take away 600 is going to give me 240. But it was 610 I had to take off, so I need to take off another 10. So the 240 take away 10, well, that's going to give me 230. Remember, these are steps you should be doing in your head, not writing these down. I'm writing them down so that you can see what my thoughts were. Another way to do it is to do your 40, take away 10, to give you your 30, and your 8, take away the 6, gives you your 2. Maybe you can chunk it up that way. So our next example is 15 times by 12, and again there's a couple of different ways we can do this, and maybe thinking on our multiplying lessons that we've done previously, earlier last week, you've maybe picked up some tips here. My thoughts is 12 is made up of 2 lots of 6. So what I can do here is I can do 15 times by 2, so doubling 15 to give me 30. And then having my 30 times by 6. And remember our rules, when we multiply by a multiple of 10, we look at the 3 and the 6 gives us 18, and we had 1 0 at the end of 30, so I'm putting a 0 1 to give me 180. Again, another way to think about this, some people do the doubling and halving, so if you half one number, you double the other. So again, I can double my 15 straight away to get 30, and half that 12 to get 6, and go straight to the second line that we had here of 180. Another way we could do it is think, well, 15 is made up of 3 lots of 5. So you could do 3 times 12 and then 5 times 12. But that's maybe more tricky with our times tables to try and keep those numbers in our head. Probably our halving and doubling method, the timesing by 2 and then timesing by 6 is probably the easiest one for us to try there. When you are making a cake, you wouldn't put your mixture into a cold oven. Yeah, we can't mix things in a bowl if we haven't weighed them out and poured them in properly. And in maths, we have a certain order in which we carry out our operations. We have to do certain ones before we do others. The acronym we use for this is BODMAS. So each of these letters stands for one of our operations. So B is brackets, O is off or sometimes order, D is divide, M is multiply, A is addition, and S is subtraction. So we do brackets, then off or order, divide and multiply, addition and subtraction. Now, in the same way that there's sometimes we can do steps in a recipe in either way, so maybe you would preheat your oven first, or maybe you would collect ingredients before you preheat your oven. Divide and multiply can be done either way round. So sometimes people talk about BOMDAS instead of BODMAS, because multiply and divide can be done either or, and the same with addition and subtraction, but we don't need to worry too much about that. We'll stick mainly to our BODMAS rules here. So example 1, I've got 3 plus 5 times by 6. So I'm going to write out my question again here. So 3 plus 5 times by 6. I've got addition, so I'm just going to put a wee star here. And I've got multiply, so I'm putting a wee star next to my M. The first one in my list then is multiply, so this is the one that I'm going to have to do first, and addition is going to have to come second. So to do my multiply, 5 times by 6 then, that is going to be 30. I haven't touched this 3 and my plus sign yet, so I'm going to leave them as they are. So my second line here is 3 plus 30, and then the next thing we have to do is addition, so 3 plus 30 is 33, and that's our final answer there. For this second example, I've got 9 plus my 2 times by 4, but this time my 2 times by 4 has been put inside a bracket, and then we are adding 5 at the end. So this time I've got 9 plus something, so that's an add. I've got 2 times by 4 in brackets, so we've got a bracket this time, and the multiply is inside the bracket, so I don't need to worry too much about that. And then I've got another add outside. So my bracket is the thing that needs to be done first. Addition is the thing that needs to be done second. So my 2 times by 4 then is going to give me 8. I've not done anything with that 9, so I need to keep that as 9 plus that 8, and then that plus 5 at the end there. Because I am adding the 3 things together, I'm just going to work from left to right. So 9 plus 8 is 17, and I still have that plus 5 at the end. And then 17 plus 5 is 22. Now, maybe you were able to just do 9 plus 8 is 17, plus 5 gives me 22, and go straight to this last line here, and that's perfectly fine, so long as you are showing me each step. So you multiplied first with your bracket, and then we did our add-in second. I would at the minimum expect to see this line, and then your last line here. this time I've got 4 times by 7 minus 4 in brackets plus 3. So this time I've got 4 multiplying by something. I've then got a bracket, and that takeaway is inside the bracket, so I'm not going to mark that off because it's inside the bracket. And then my plus 3 means that we're adding. So 4 times by 7, take away 4, plus 3. So my bracket first of all, so on my next line, 7 take away 4 is 3. I've still got my 4 times by at the start, and that plus 3 at the end. So we've done brackets. The next thing is to multiply. So 4 times by 3 is 12, plus this 3 at the end. So we've done multiply, and addition is left over. So 12 plus 3 gives me 15 for my final answer. So example 4 now, our last example. We have to calculate 1/2 of 8 minus 2 in a bracket. So what that really is asking for here is 1/2 of 8 minus 2. So this time I have got off, so we'll put a wee star there. I've then got a bracket, and that subtraction is inside the bracket, so I don't need to mark that off. So the first thing we need to do then is the bracket. 8 take away 2 is going to give us 6, and I've still got this half off at the start. So all we've got to do now is 1/2 of 6, and remember, a fraction of a quantity we divide by the bottom times by the top. So in this case, it's just really asking for 6 divided by 2, which is 3. 1/2 of 6 is 3. And that is you now at the end of today's lesson and the end of this topic. So well done for sticking through this, guys. As you can see here, you've got 6 different questions. Again, I've used that chili rating, so the more chilies, the harder the questions. I've put in this bubble up the top here as well. 1, 2 and 4 should all be attempted mentally. So I wouldn't expect to see any working, and certainly no calculator. You're trying to do this in your head. If you are struggling to carry numbers or think about how to add it in your head, I would then expect you to try it with working. Absolutely no calculator for this exercise here. I've then said that you must show your working for 3, 5 and 6. So 3, 5 and 6 all require you to use BODMAS, so that those examples I would want to see working for. Give this your best shot for me, and any problems, stick a wee question into Teams and I will get back to you as quick as I can. Good luck!